And on Wednesday, he took to Twitter to say he and Mr. Trump are in agreement on the cost-sharing reductions, or CSRs. The measure is creating friction. Speaker Paul D. Ryan of Wisconsin, reflecting his most conservative members, came out against the deal on Wednesday. The Speaker does not see anything that changes his view that the Senate should keep its focus on repealing replace of Obamacare, said Doug Andres, a spokesman for Mr. Ryan. But the authors of the measure may be gaining support for the moment that they have their most leverage. In December, the government will run out of money, and no bill to keep it funded can pass without Democratic votes. At that point, supporters of the Alexander Murray measure can insist on its inclusion in any spending bill and threaten to shut down the government if they do not prevail. Already, several Republicans have backed the agreement, including Senators John McCain of Arizona, Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican of Louisiana and the co-author with Senator Lindsey Graham of the most recent legislation to repeal the Affordable Care Act, offered his qualified support. If combined with greater flexibility to allow states to lower costs, this will set the stage for replace through a mechanism such as Graham-Cassidy. I will study this proposal to see if it accomplishes these goals. Mr. Alexander, speaking Wednesday at a forum convened by Axios, a news website, said, "The president engineered the bipartisan agreement by calling me and asking me to work with Senator Murray to do it. I've talked with him 3 times in the last 10 days about it." Mr. Alexander predicted that the plan would pass in some form before the end of the year. And he said the deal included several victories for conservatives, making it easier for states to revamp their insurance markets and allowing people of any age to buy low-cost, high-deductible health plans providing catastrophic coverage. A federal judge ruled in 2016 that the federal payments to insurance companies, known as cost-sharing reductions, violated the Constitution because Congress never provided money for them. Citing that ruling, Mr. Trump announced last week that he would stop the payments. Mr. Trump says he still supports longer-range efforts to repeal the Affordable Care Act and replace it with block grants to the states. Such big changes would not take effect until 2020 or 2021, Mr. Alexander said. "What do you do in the meantime?" he asked. "What you don't want to do in the meantime is create chaos and hurt millions of Americans." "What does chaos do?" Mr. Alexander asked. "It's a 4-lane highway to a single-payer solution. It's a birthday present for Bernie Sanders, the independent Vermont senator and leading advocate for a single-payer Medicare for all health care system." The Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer of New York, quickly pushed back on the president's Twitter post, expressing exasperation in remarks on the Senate floor. "Frankly, the president doesn't know what he's talking about in the compromise, Mr. Schumer said. "It doesn't bail out insurance companies. It helps people who are sick and who need health care." Mr. Schumer said the president keeps zigging and zagging, so it's impossible to govern. "Our only hope is maybe tomorrow he'll be for this again," he added. Indeed, Mr. Trump's exact views on the Senate measure have been hard to pin down over the past 24 hours or so. At a news conference at the White House on Tuesday afternoon, virtually as the deal was being announced at the Capitol, Mr. Trump voiced support for the plan. He vowed to try again to repeal the Affordable Care Act but said the emerging bipartisan deal would get us over this intermediate hump in the meantime. The president described the Senate plan as a short-term solution so that we don't have this very dangerous little period. Hours later, In a speech to the Conservative Heritage Foundation, Mr. Trump commended the work of Mr. Alexander and Ms. Murray, but he said that Congress needed to find a solution to the Obamacare mess instead of providing bailouts to insurance companies. And with his Twitter post on Wednesday morning, he stepped back even further from the support he had offered just a day earlier.